Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, Pretty Nerdy Adventures. My name is Taylor, and as always on my left is my pretty nerdy partner, Michael. And we are back for yet another adventure throughout the Disneyland Resort Parks in Anaheim, California. Now, if you happen to catch our last video, also our first video, so you should definitely go check it out if you haven't already, we recently went on a 3-day staycation down to Disneyland, and since the 24,007 steps I mentioned in the previous video that we walked did not tire us out enough, we headed back into the park the very next day. We hadn't been to Disneyland for the majority of the summer since our particular Magic Key passes have blackout dates for the months of June and July. And needless to say, as adrenaline junkies, we were very much excited to ride the rides. So, we figured today would be the day that we purchased a couple of Disney Genie Plus passes in the hopes of riding as many rides as we possibly could before California Adventure and Disneyland closed at 10 p.m. and midnight respectively.
For those that might not know, the Disney Genie is a digital app service you can pair with your park pass in order to create an itinerary that will update continuously throughout the day so you can stay on top of any shows, character meet and greets, mobile pickup order reservation times, and of course, reservations that you may be prioritizing while at the park. At an additional cost of $20 per guest, you can also purchase the Disney Genie Plus Pass, which enables you to make Lightning Lane reservations at a number of Disneyland and California Adventure attractions, excluding a couple of premium rides with higher attendance rates, like the Rise of the Resistance or Radiator Springs Racers. Pricing and availability for these rides will vary by date and attraction, and ranges for individual Lightning Lane passes are between $7 and $20 per ticket. There are some stipulations though. You can only make a reservation every 2 hours, though once you redeem your initial reservation, you become eligible to make another one. Another tip we recently learned is you can make your first reservation for the day starting at 7 a.m., whether you're on the park property or not. This means you can begin stacking some reservations for your party before you even arrive. Make a reservation at 7 a.m., then another at 9 when you arrive at the park, and every 2 hours thereafter, or as we said before, once you redeem your first initial reservation.
We weren't going to arrive at the park for opening, but nonetheless, our goal for this day was to hit as many rides as we possibly could before the parks closed, and therefore, we weren't so much focused on the itinerary aspect of the app, as we really didn't have priorities for the day other than finding rides we like with short wait times. We entered the park around 10 a.m., but we were desperately in need of some coffee and food before we could tackle some rides. We headed to Starbucks, but to be honest, their subpar breakfast sandwiches and lack of new available drinkware was little to warrant waiting in their super long line, and instead we opted to head towards Pim's Test Kitchen in Avengers Campus for some Cinepim French toast. However, it wasn't until we got there that we noticed we missed their breakfast fare by about 10 minutes. But since we were right next to Radiator Springs, we simply just opted to head to Flo's V8 Cafe, where we know they have coffee all day long, and settled for splitting a cheeseburger just to have something in our systems. And finally, with almost an hour wasted at the park on our coffee hunt, we were ready to book our first reservation of the day. We opted for Soarin' Around the World with a reservation window between 12:05 and 1:05 p.m. And with our first reservation booked, we checked the Disneyland app for current wait times and were in luck, as one of our favorite rides, the Incredicoaster, only had about a 25-minute wait. So we headed over to Pixar Pier to try to knock out some rides before heading over to my actual favorite ride, Soarin' Around the World. Now let's get one thing straight. As I said before, both Michael and myself are huge adrenaline junkies. We love rides like Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout and Hyperspace Mountain, but there's something about the immersiveness of Soarin' that just gets me every time. The feels, the sights, the smells. It's perfection. Over at Pixar Pier, the line for the Incredicoaster looked intimidating since it wound all the way back to the entrance gate. However, we quickly noticed that this was due to the fact that a large part of the switchbacks had been roped off. Shortly after we got onto the line, they opened up more of the switchbacks, and within 35 minutes, we were off the Incredicoaster and headed to our next destination. So, on our journey to get to Soarin' for our reservation, we decided to walk towards the Little Mermaid attraction. There's only a 20-minute wait for that line right now, and we haven't been on that ride yet, so we're gonna check it out. It was also closed for a while, so maybe they redid it, we'll see. And I think we're gonna pass the swings, and there's only a 10-minute wait, so we might have to make a pit stop. We most definitely needed to go on the swings. There was only about a 10-minute wait, and for myself, this is truly a nostalgia ride. Shout out to the swings at Adventureland in Farmingdale, New York.
However, with this pit stop and our Soarin' Around the World reservation near, we opted to skip the Little Mermaid for now and head towards Grizzly Peak so we could book our next reservation as soon as possible.
We're gonna be on the top row.
Although we had Lightning Lane reservations, there was still a bit of a wait time in line. Lightning Lane doesn't mean no wait, it just means an expedited wait. So it took about 40 minutes for us to get done at Soarin', and by this time it was already 12:45. There weren't too many ride reservations piquing our interest to California Adventure till much later in the day, so we booked a reservation at Big Thunder Mountain Railroad for 2:05 p.m. and stopped by the Little Mermaid ride as there was still a short wait time. Then we grabbed some drinks from Pim's testing lab before heading into Disneyland.
Okay, so we hit a snag in the plan. We got a notification that our reservation for Big Thunder Railroad Mountain was canceled. Apparently the ride is broken down for the time being. We'll let you know if they open it back up. So they gave us passes for any ride that we can redeem at the moment. We're going to use it to go on the Finding Nemo ride, since that's the one ride that we really want to make sure that we hit today. And it just opened. I'm expecting the line to be kind of on the longer side. So let's go. So it turns out we struck a bit of luck to combat the roadblock we hit earlier with Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. The scanner over at Finding Nemo's submarine voyage wasn't up and running just yet, as they had recently reopened the ride to the public, and while we fully intended to use the multiple experiences pass we got as a result of the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad cancellation over at Submarine Voyage, the lovely cast members over at Disneyland were nice enough to let us onto the Lightning Lane sans multiple experiences pass. And this meant we got to use it on Indiana Jones Adventure, another ride that tends to have longer wait times as it's a super popular attraction and also has a reputation for breaking down throughout the day. While in line for Indiana Jones Adventure, we were able to score another reservation for Big Thunder Mountain Railroad as it had recently reopened. However, our reservation time wasn't until 6:50 p.m., so we took a detour to Batuu for some daytime photos and a quick run-in with the first order.
Happen. I expect your compliance. Am I making myself clear? So, we got to our mark.
And then it was time for Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Take 2. Earlier in the day, we made the conscious decision to go to the 9:30 Fantasmic show over in Frontierland, so even though it meant waiting in an actual line queue, after we finished up at Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, we decided to head back to California Adventure to ride a must-ride for us, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, before the Fantasmic show began and California Adventure closed.
Before going to see the collector, we decided to grab another round of drinks at Pim's testing lab since we knew we had a bit of a wait ahead of us. Although it was by no means a short wait, we got off the ride sooner than we anticipated and even had time to hop on one more ride as well as an ego fluff before California Adventure closed for the night.
If you ever encounter a clap box, as they're known at Disneyland, we highly recommend this free and fun confidence boost.
I just topped off at Flo's V8 Cafe.
Hi, Lightning!
I am ready to race.
Ka-chow! Ka-chow!
With enough time for only one more ride in California Adventure, we opted to bite the bullet and for an additional cost, purchased individual Lightning Lane tickets for Radiator Springs racers to close out our night at DCA.
Back at Disneyland, we didn't have enough time to hop on any lines before Fantasmic was set to start, so we headed back to Batuu yet again for my favorite park activity, Picture Pass photos. The Disneyland Picture Pass photographers are super cool and great at their job, so we highly recommend utilizing them to cement your favorite memories. The photos all come free with your Disney Genie Plus Pass purchase, so you can have as many photographers take as many photos as you like, and they're all free to download. I personally recommend the Picture Pass photographers, especially if you're trying to get any pictures at night, as they truly have the best equipment and skills to get the best shots given the conditions. And if you're super nice and the photographer isn't busy, sometimes they will take you to exclusive areas to get unique shots not many others get. After that, it was time to head to Frontierland for the Fantasmic Show. The show is pretty unique as it incorporates a number of elements Disneyland shows are known for all in one. There are fireworks, mystical projections and water sprays, stunts, lights, and of course, Disneyland characters aplenty. Michael particularly enjoyed the fact that his favorite sea scoundrels, the Pirates of the Caribbean, were a featured part of the show. We truly had a great time at this show. Not only were the story and the effects amazing, the cast was super talented, and we really liked the fact that unlike other parades and shows where you're sectioned off in very small areas and have to stand or sit on the ground, there was plenty of seating over by the Golden Horseshoe and other restaurants in the Frontierland area. Though if you so choose for the best view, you can always do the standing, sitting on the ground thing near the waterfront itself. And with that, day 2 of our Disneyland 2022 staycation had come to a close. We hit 9 rides, saw 2 shows, did 2 photo shoots, and walked 31,674 steps. And while we didn't have the unbreakable focus to ride the rides like I thought we would, we did a lot, and I was thoroughly happy with our time there.
The Disney Genie Plus Pass is always worth it. Even if you don't make the most of it while you're at the park, it saves time and lets you enjoy everything else Disneyland and California Adventure have to offer. For us, we went on 9 rides on a day where the average wait time was about an hour. That's like 9 hours worth of waiting time that we didn't have to do. It gave us time to do other things, and even as people who go to the park often, it seems that there's never enough time to do everything we want, so anything helps, especially the Genie Plus Pass.
And for me, I think not being in the park for quite some time leading up to this left a yearning in me for some of the other things I missed about the park that aren't ride related. We by no means hit our current highest ride total for one day, which I believe is 13 as we record this, and we definitely spent a lot more time doing things like watching the First Order show in Batuu and partaking in Disneyland photo pass opportunities than I thought we would, but I think in the near future we're gonna have to go back and truly do a Disney Genie Plus Pass challenge. What do you guys think, huh? One day in the park, open to close. We try and hit as many rides as we possibly can with minimal stopping for food, drinks, and the bathroom. Is that something that you're into? Let us know in the comments down below, and if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click that little bell to turn on notifications. Also, feel free to let us know what other nerdy places and things you'd like to see us check out in the future, and as always, part of the journey is the end. But we'll be back next week for another pretty nerdy adventure.